This segment of CVM at Sunrise is brought to you by the National Health Fund and Shetlaw Media.
Dr. Nandi is still with us, and
yes.
It's Ladies' View time. We're talking accessible and cost-effective health care. So we ask, shouldn't health care be readily accessible and cost-effective to the average man or the poorer class? Well, go to our Facebook page right now and tell us what you think. Also, we'll be taking calls during this segment, so call us 931-6193, 969-3705, and 1-888-991-2398 and we want to hear from you. So, Doc.
Yes.
My thing is, when I think about the poor class and healthcare, I think a lot of persons delay going to the doctor because they don't want to be presented with the platform to say this is what you have to acquire in terms of taking care of yourself. So they shy away from actual visits to doctor. Would that be a fair assessment?
I think so. I think it comes back to education. You know, it comes back to you know, understanding what healthcare means. So, you know, around the world, whenever we get questions on our Facebook and Twitter, we get questions about everything under the sun. I'll give you an example of such a basic question. I had a young woman from Central America who said, I performed an abortion a year ago.
At home?
Or somewhere. She didn't say where, but not at the doctor's. With, get this, boiled Pepsi.
I've heard about
that. And she said, now I want to have a child. What are your? Can you give me some advice? And so the basic level of understanding of what's going on is really lacking around the world. And it's not just with people who are poor, or rich, or different socioeconomic standards. Is that there's just a whole lack of understanding. So to go to your question, I think people are afraid of two things. Number one, they're afraid of finding out something bad. Invariably, they come to me, they go, I mean, even people that come to me for the simplest problems, they think that they have cancer. Tell me, doctor, please, don't tell me it's cancer.
Don't tell me.
You know, I mean, and I said, no, you know, nothing can be 100%, but absolutely not. But let's talk about something like your cholesterol. So I think that's number one. Number two is they're worried about the costs involved.
We're going to talk about the cost pretty quickly, but right now let's take a phone call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, go ahead with your question.
I have a problem. You know, from November we can't get any Jadif. You know, the elderly people get this Jadif. You only pay $40 for medication.
Yes.
If you go to one pharmacy, you might get an item, and you go to another pharmacy, you get one item. You just can't get it. So, you know, I would like to know what is going on. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Well, we don't know right now, but we've got the National Health Fund coming in a little while, and also the minister. So I'm certainly going to be posting those questions to both of those entities when they come in.
But she's saying that she has difficulty.
So
she can't get all the medicines in one place.
Pharmacy. Correct.
You know, and if she can still hear me, I think that's a big problem. But consider the fact that there are places in the U.S. where you cannot get a single medicine unless you bring the cash. So, you know, there's a lot of people that don't have coverage. You know, they're starting to get that with this new plan, but they don't have any coverage at all. That if you can't afford the medicine, which sometimes can be $500 US, you know, and so at least the plan is, obviously it's not ideal that you have to go from pharmacy to pharmacy, but the approach is that people can still get some of the medicines even if they have to travel. In places around the world, that's not even an option. So I applaud the efforts that are being done here. Clearly there are problems, but the motivation is one that other places in the world you don't even have.
Does the state have a responsibility to provide health care?
Absolutely, in my opinion. But the citizen has a responsibility to do your part. So if you say, I'm going to smoke 2 packs a day, drink bourbon every day, and then, doc, fix me up. Well, you know, that's not a responsible view. At the same time, if you have a young child who's born into poverty, to no fault of their own, should they be set aside and said, you know what, I don't care about you because you are poor and you're not the fittest and you should not survive. I don't ascribe to that point of view. So I feel that it's a partnership, you know. And I tell my patients, listen, I'll do everything I can, but you also have to do everything you can. Meaning that adopt the lifestyles we talk about, adopt the philosophies, take the medicines like we ask you to, and then I'll do everything in my power, along with the health system, to make it better. It's a partnership. I feel that healthcare is a right and a privilege. People say, well, it's either a right or a privilege. I say it's a right and a privilege. It's a right because as human beings, if we have the ability to help each other to live better lives, we should do that. It's a privilege because when you have that right and when you have that ability to take care of yourself, then you do so, and you do it in a responsible way. And you also tell people, like your family members, we around the world have stopped teaching our children anything. You know, our kids need to learn from us. What do most people, their behaviors, like you said, my mom and I, right? We cook in a certain way. Well, you know, as parents, and I don't know if you both are, but as parents, I feel it's important that you tell your kids early on, this is how you do it. And I still do the stuff that my mom told me. I don't care how old I get. You still remember it. Yeah. You know, I still eat my spinach. Because, that's what we did.
Carrots give you good eyesight.
We hear that from very early out.
I'm not sure if it's true, but carrots are good for you. I mean, listen, it was a myth that the British put out to have people eat carrots, but it's good for you for sure. So I keep it going.
And there are myths about men and papaya, eating too much papaya and all those other stuff.
Papaya's a good one. I like papaya fruit. You know, as long as you don't eat, a ton of it all the time. But I think it's a great fruit that has many properties, and you guys know about it already, but the rest of the world doesn't. So I think there's a lot of things, and I had my first coconut juice in about, I don't know how many years.
Okay, I have to fix that, right? So Jamaicans call it coconut water.
Who called it coconut water?
We
what did I say, juice?
Water.
Everybody else called it water too. I just called it juice because I had a crazy moment there. But I had coconut water. I went to this place by the airport called Going Nuts.
Yeah.
She gave me this giant coconut. It's really nice.
Yeah.
We used to eat it in India. We used to drink it in India.
So it looks as if you're breaking all your rules since you've been here, because you've just been having more than the designated portion that you're used to.
But see, she got me. But in all fairness, I will not do this every day.
Okay. And you're going to take the stairs.
I always take the stairs, but I will not. I won't have a big. I think coconut water is good in moderation, but also the meat inside the coconut, that's the best. So she said, I had to drink the whole thing before she said, can I split it, man? I said, sure. She split it, and then I took the little thing and just like
people add sugar to that.
Well, no, I didn't do that.
Let's take another call. Good morning.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi, Patrice.
Good morning.
Good morning. And I just want to make a statement. I don't think it's only the poorer class who is afraid of going to the doctor to hear something bad. I was just talking to a sister of mine in America yesterday, and she said she did a cancer test, and she was totally scared to go back and
for the results. Yeah.
So I don't think I'm that way now. I have to do one, and I'm totally scared. I don't think it's only the poor class.
It's everybody.
Talk to her, because she's expressed in the middle of all of that she has a test to go and do it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Patrice, before I became a doctor, I used to hate going to the doctor. My blood pressure would go up almost twice the amount whenever I went. So here's the point that I did not understand until I became a physician, is that if you put it off because you're afraid, typically the problems will get worse. It never gets better if you wait. And so the way I think about of fear, I only fear things that I can control, right? But things like this you cannot control, because you cannot control what's already happened. So don't be fearful of things that you cannot control. But you can control is the future. Meaning that if you have a diagnosis, I'm not sure if you can share with me what the test is, but whatever the test is, if you go to the doctor and get the results, almost always they can do something about it to prevent it from getting worse. So that's how I dealt with it, because I used to always worry about something that they will say that was almost always fictional or blown out of proportion. So what I would say is concentrate on is this, that I cannot change what's already happened in the past, right? I cannot change how my body has reacted. What I can change is my response to it. And I've been given the knowledge and the education to do that, and so have you. So I move forward, and that's what I've done. when I learned about the fact that I can make a change in my healthcare, that's when I took the fear out of it and said I'm going to go and then do something. Because now in medicine, for example, many types of cancers can be controlled if not cured. In most hospitals now around the world, they build cancer wings. Why? Because they're expecting people with cancer to live meaningful lives. Before you heard the word cancer, you said, okay, I'm writing my will, I'm dead. Maybe get my, gravestone done, but no longer the case. So whatever it is, I'm sure they can do something about it to make it better. That's how I would deal with it. I don't know if that helps at all.
Okay, I guess I'm scared because of how I saw my grandmother died. She died very bad with it.
But early detection is important.
Yeah. It's very important. What did your grandmother die with?
Both grandmother died with breast cancer.
With breast cancer. But now I'll tell you, breast cancer is an extremely good example because we have done so much more in breast cancer now. I have 2 members in my family with breast cancer, and they've both done very well. So I think that I would go and talk to the doctor and see there's minimal surgeries, and she's absolutely right. Early detection, the earlier...
The survival rate in Jamaica is very high, actually.
Yeah, and so the thing is exactly what she said. So everywhere in the world, the survival rate is getting, getting better and better. But the earlier you treat it, the better the response is. So be proactive. I would not be afraid, because what your grandmother's time is not today. The medicine regimens are much more. There are so many people that have done research on breast cancer. It's unbelievable. In the States and around the world, up to 1 in every 6 women can have breast cancer. So it's no longer a diagnosis that we say is unusual. It's become a chronic problem that people have, and people have had multiple episodes of it. So I would go to the doctor, and I think you'll find out that much has changed since your grandmother had it.
Okay, thanks.
Patrice, I have to tell you, I love the sound of that rooster in the background.
I do too.
I tell you.
From Patrice, where are you?
I'm in St. Mary.
Good morning, Darren, and good morning to everybody in St. Mary.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for calling.
But Doc, a lot of times when I talk to breast cancer survivors, they would tell me that they have done alternative treatments in terms of herbs. Would you recommend that?
You know, what I would always say is that when you do alternative treatments, especially with a disease like cancer, you don't give up on the traditional route, which is the chemotherapy or the radiation or the surgery. However, what the alternative medicine is, whether it's herbs, whether it's acupuncture, whether it's yoga, whatever the case is that it helps you to tolerate the medicine and helps you to be able to get through with the traditional medicine. And I think that the combination of both of them really helps a lot.
And we isolate.
Yeah, well, yeah. The thing is, I had a patient who had hepatitis C. I treat hepatitis C, and she said, "We're giving you this medicine called interferon, which gives a lot of side effects." She goes, "Doc, I know you're going to be upset because I started taking herbs." And I said, "Why would I be upset?" She goes, "Well, you know, most people who are traditional doctors don't like when you say you taking herbs." I said, "Well, I want to hear about it." She said, "Well, I've got some side effects, so I took herbs to take away some of the side effects." I said, "More power to you, because what you've done is you have been able to get a regimen now which allows you to take the medicines that then treated the hepatitis C." And so I firmly believe that they should be in concert with your doctor. Sometimes, unfortunately, there are some people that will sell you a bag of stories, you know, instead of some facts, right? So you gotta work with your physician. Be honest with them and say, "Listen, this is what I'm doing. I'm also, you know, using herbs or using acupuncture, whatever the case is, that alternative medicine and products. And is that the right thing? Because you don't want it to interact with the medicines in an improper way, so the medicines don't work."
Absolutely. We got out some good information this morning, guys, and Doc's not going away. He's staying for the whole show, but we're shifting gears a little bit, and we're coming off the Ladies' View topic, and we're going to continue the talk with Health Talk. That's next. Dr. Nandi is going to do 21 questions, and also we're talking about vector-borne diseases, especially CHIKV. So if you have unanswered questions about CHIKV, if you've been riddled with CHIKV, you still have lingering ailments, let's talk about that in the Health Talk segment, which is next.